So moving into the McIntosh Oil Company late models for heat race number 1, starting on the pole, Monar's Flying Hillbilly, Jonathan Ritter in the 48. The number 83 is RJ White. The number 90 is Emerson Hoffman. The 65, the Iceman, Tim Ice. The 0 is George Riddle. Your fastest qualifier, the 18 of Brandon Short. And out back, the 01 of Bob Gaynor. So the man formerly known as the Mountain State Missile, now the Monar Flying Hillbilly on the pole with the 83 of RJ White. Eight-lap heat race number 1. Jonathan Ritter, RJ White, Chief Starter Terry Coletti, green flag in hand, 8-lap heat race number 1, and we got a spin turn forward. From green. Jonathan Ritter, RJ White on the front row. Emerson Hoffman, George Riddle, row 2. Green flag in the air. Jonathan Ritter will lead lap number 1, RJ White. Smoking the tires on the start. Still a loose race car in that 83. Emerson Hoffman up to the second spot. 0 of George Riddle, then White, then the 18 is Short, the 01 of Gaynor. George Riddle sideways in turns 3 and 4. He'll maintain that third spot. Ritter still out front. Hoffman second. Halfway home, 4 and 4 to go. White flag coming out for Jonathan Ritter. Emerson Hoffman second. George Riddle third. RJ White fourth. And Bob Gaynor and Brandon Short. Final time into turn number 3. Heat race number 1. Going to go to Monar's Flying Hillbilly, Jonathan Ritter. Emerson Hoffman finishes second, then George Riddle, RJ White, Bob Gaynor, and Brandon Short. Pulling to the line, heat race number 1 winner from Weirton, West Virginia in the Ken's Auto Service Center. Smith's Auto Sales, Monar Family Racing, sponsored number 48. It's Gene Monar's Flying Hillbilly, Jonathan Ritter. Bob Snyder Jr., Tony, your dials on the front row, getting ready to go green. 8-lap heat race number 2 for the McIntosh Oil Company late models. Green flag in the air. Caution on the speedway, the 25 of Chris Grubbs into the back of the 6 of Larry Baker. Complete restart down in turn number 1. So we'll try it again. Complete restart. Bob Snyder Jr. and Tony, your dials. Green flag is in the air. Snyder will have the race lead off of turn number 2. Your dial slips back into that second spot. Here comes Matt Gribble in the 169. To take over third from Larry Baker. Your dial's up the racetrack. Bob Snyder Jr., Tony, your dials, Matt Gribble, Chris Grubbs, and Larry Baker, your top 5. Grubbs now to the inside of Gribble. He'll take over third. Halfway on 4 and 4 to go for Bob Snyder Jr. Speeding ticket for Bob Snyder Jr. Bob Snyder Jr., 2 laps under his qualifying time, and the Animal Racing 69, he gets the black flag for the speeding ticket. Tony, your dials out front in the 88, trying to hold off his old car, the 25 of Chris Grubbs. Your dials, Grubbs off at turn number 4. Tony, your dials will win. Chris Grubbs second. Matt Gribble third. Larry Baker fourth. AP Wren in 5th. So pulling to the line in the number 88. First time back in a race car since he won the Fall Classic last year. From Akron, Ohio in the Kavanaugh. 44 Sharp, Forever Tan. Dan Guardo Construction, Automotive Electric sponsored number 88. Put your hands together for Tony, your dials. The Open Modifieds. So this first heat race for the Open Mods will set the inside lane for the A-Main tomorrow. So the winner of this race will start on the pole. The second place finisher will start third. So the 51 of Rick Elkins Jr., the 32 is Storm and Norm Taylor. The number 33 is Kenneth Price. 00 of Todd Ripley, the 82 of Bob Sibla Jr., and the 32 of Ryan Wetnall. We are green. 10-lap heat race for the Open Modifieds. Problems for Todd Ripley up the racetrack. And caution on the speedway. Modified feature tomorrow. Getting ready to go green. 10-lap heat race. Elkins and Taylor. Elkins going to have a nose ahead off of turn number 4. He's going to leave that number 1. Norm Taylor second. Good battle for third between Price and the double zero of Ripley. Now Ripley going to go to the outside of Norm Taylor. Taylor hanging on to that second spot. Ripley trying to find a bite in the outside lane as Price going to move up to the third spot. Here comes Bob Sibla for fourth. Ripley dropping in the high lane. Rick Elkins, your race leader. Coming in on 7 complete, Rick Elkins, your race leader. Norm Taylor second, Kenneth Price in third, and Bob Sibla Jr., Todd Ripley, and Brian Wetnall. White flag for Elkins. Off turn number 4 to Chief Starter Terry Coletti's checkered flag. Rick Elkins Jr., Norm Taylor, Kenneth Price, Bob Sibla Jr., Todd Ripley, and Brian Wetnall will be your inside line for the feature tomorrow. Pulling to the line, heat race number 1 winner. He'll start on the pole tomorrow. From Carrollton, Ohio, and the Bearing Service Company, Ron Rug Automotive, World Import, and All's Made Body Shop, sponsored number 51, the Elk, Rick Elkins Jr. Sideline for the 40-lap open mod feature tomorrow afternoon. The number 28 Hollywood, Scott Archer, will start on the pole. The 57 is Tyler Knuckles. The 14 is Doug Mate. The 67 is Bob Page. Row number 3, the 21 of Bryce Allensworth. And your fastest qualifier, the number 31 of Doug Meyer. 10-lap heat race number 2, setting the outside positions, the even positions for tomorrow's 40-lapper. Hollywood and Knuckles on the front row. Field in turn number 3, looking for Chief Starter Terry Coletti's green flag off of turn number 4. Caution, the 67 of Bob Page gets turned in turn number 2. '67 machine getting ready to go back to green. The 28 of Archer, the 57 of Knuckles. Green flag in the air. Caution once again for the 28 of Scott Archer. Driver's going to be warned on the radio again. So trying to get the 28 of Archer and the 57 of Knuckles side by side in turn number 4. Is Archer going to hit the gas? Green flag in the air. Tyler Knuckles going to have the race lead into turn number 3. Good power move by that 57. Archer back to second, then the 21. Allensworth to 31 of Meyer. Tyler Knuckles starting to inch away from Scott Archer. The 21 of Bryce Allensworth all over the rear deck with that 28. The 31 of Doug Meyer right behind. Halfway home this time, 5 in, 5 to go for Knuckles, who's pulling away from Archer. White flag for Tyler Knuckles in the 57. Off turn number 4, he'll start outside of the front row tomorrow. Tyler Knuckles, your winner. Scott Archer finishes in the second spot. Third is the 21 of Bryce Allensworth. And fourth, the 31 of Doug Meyer. Top 2 will transfer to the A main. Top 2 will transfer. The 86 is Zach Miller, Valley City, Ohio. The number 10 is Nathan Embry from Carrollton, Ohio. Making his return to racing, a 2-time modified champion at Midvale Speedway. First time in 20 years. The 77 is Mark Stryker. The 331 is Mike Stone, your modified champion here at Midvale Speedway. The 24 is Nick Grubbs, running in the open modifieds for the first time. And the 64 is Brandon Lemmerman. So top 2 will transfer. Top 2 will transfer. The other 4 will go to the Consi tomorrow. Zach Miller, Nathan Embry. 10-lap heat race number 3. Top 2 to the feature. Green flag in the air. Miller and Embry side by side into turn number 3. Miller smokes the left front tire. Still side by side with Embry. Stryker in third. Stone 4th, Grubbs 5th, Lemmerman 6th. Great battle up front between Zach Miller and Nathan Embry. Halfway home, 5 in, 5 to go for Zach Miller. who finally clears Nathan Embry. Embry drops back into the second spot. Striker third, Stone fourth. Top two transfer to the feature tomorrow. White flag for Zach Miller. Final time into turn number 3. Zach Miller, Nathan Embry going to transfer to the feature. Checkered flag, Mark Stryker, Mike Stone, Nick Grubbs, and Brandon Lemmerman to the Consi tomorrow afternoon. Really good side-by-side racing between Zach Miller and Nathan Embry. 5 laps side-by-side up front. Embry finishes second. He transfers through. And your winner from Valley City, Ohio in the Maximum Elevator, Gherkin Enterprises, Direct Detail 137 Race Cars, and Sparky's Powder Coat, sponsored number 86. Put your hands together for Zach Miller. Heat number 4, again, top 2, transfer to the feature. Starting on the pole, the big dog, Lucas Ripley in the 0. Alongside the rooster, Brandon Bailey in the 55. Bubba Smith in the 12 will start third, along with the number 5 of Kyle Warner. The number 7 is Corey Beatty, and the number 99 is Brady McLean. Top 2 transfer to the feature, 10-lap heat race number 4 for the open modifieds, Ripley and the rooster on the front row. Multi-time late model track champion at Midvale Speedway, Bubba Smith starts third. Kyle Warner fourth. Beatty and McLean. So Lucas Ripley a little quick to the trigger on the right foot. Coming back to green. Try it again. Ripley and Rooster. Bubba and Warner. Row number 2. Getting ready to go green. Green flag in the air. So we'll try it again. Ripley Warren on the radio. Then we start in turn number 4. Side by side, that's better. Ripley and Bailey. Lucas Ripley will have the race lead into turn number 3. Brandon Bailey second. Here comes Bubba Smith looking for the outside lane. Kyle Warner in fourth. Corey Beatty, Brady McLean. Lucas Ripley, Brandon Bailey, Bubba Smith, your top 3. Halfway home, top 2 transfer. 5 in, 5 to go. Seven laps complete. Bubba Smith starting to lose touch with the 55 of Brandon Bailey in that transfer position. Lucas Ripley maintaining that about car length and a half lead. Good battle for the 4th spot between Kyle Warner and the 7 of Corey Beatty. White flag for Lucas Ripley. Checkered flag for the 0 of Lucas Ripley. The 55 of Brandon Bailey. Those two will transfer. Bubba Smith will finish in the 3rd spot. Then the 5 of Kyle Warner. The 7 Kyle Warner finishes 4th. Corey Beatty 5th. And Brady McLean 6th. So again, your winner from Yorksville, Ohio in the LTR Industries, DMB Machine, Mustang, Trucking, and Hammer Construction, sponsored number 0, the big dog, Lucas Ripley. Once again, our final heat race for the open mods, top 2 transfer. The rest go to the Consi tomorrow, and the top 6 will transfer out of the Consi into the feature. Starting on the pole, the number 60 is Sam Bingham from Akron, Ohio. Paul's Car Care sponsored number 60. The number 17 is Nathan McCauley from Millersport, Ohio, in the Jegs Advanced Air, and Segal's Automotive sponsored 17. The number 11, Kenny Sharp from Port Clinton, Ohio. First time here at Midvale Speedway for Kenny Sharp. The number 38 is Sean Lewis from Akron, Ohio in the Cuyahoga Falls Transmission Breck Bueller Truck Sale, sponsored 38. And out back, the number 17 of John White from Barberton, Ohio in the Moons Auto Recycling sponsored ride. Again, top 2 transfer. The other 3 go to the Consi tomorrow. Top 6 transfer out of the Consi. 10-lap heat race. Green flag is in the air. So caution on the speedway. The 60 of Sam Bingham a little quick to the throttle. So getting ready to go back to green. Try it again, the 60 of Bingham, the 17 of McCauley. Green flag in the air. McCauley still hanging out there in the outside lane. Sharp gets on the rumble strips in 3. He goes up the racetrack. He'll hang on to that 3rd spot. Sean Lewis trying to maintain 4th. Is John White going to come through and pick up the 4th position? Your race leader, Sam Bingham, in the 60. Just past the halfway mark. Sam Bingham out to about a 10 or 12 car length lead over Nathan McCauley in the 2nd spot. Kenny Sharp runs 3rd. Then the 17 of John White, the 38 of Sean Lewis. White flag for Sam Bingham. And off of turn number 4, Bingham will get the win. Nathan McCauley will finish 2nd in the transfer spot. Kenny Sharp, John White, and Sean Lewis to the Consi tomorrow. Winner of the final heat race in the open modified division from Akron, Ohio, in the Paul's Car Care, sponsored number 60. Put your hands together for Slammin' Sam Bingham. 9 is Jason Gruhl. The number 13 is Matt Gribble Jr. The number 55 is Kyler Bertram. The 118 is Colt Locker. Row number 3, the 47 is Josh Caranci. The 22 is Kylie Wood. The 3 is Kyle Grove. And the 25 is Bill Kramer. Ten-lap open street stock feature. Getting ready to go green. Couple of Midvale regulars. Jason Gruhl and Matt Gribble Jr. on the front row. Green flag in the air. Gribble up the racetrack a little bit. Problems for Caranci as he gets sideways off of 2. Problems for Gruhl, and here comes Bertram. Bertram dive bombs into turn number 3, shoves Gruhl up the racetrack. Locker stuck on the outside. Matt Gribble Jr., your race leader in the 13. Kyler Bertram with a bonsai move into turn number 3 to move up to the 2nd spot. Now he's all over the 13 of Gribble. Colt Locker trying to get around Jason Gruhl for that 3rd spot. Caranci in 5th. Then Grove, Wood, and Kramer. Matt Gribble Jr. spins in turn number 1. Kylie Wood. Then the 13 and 25, getting ready to go back to Green, Gruel, and Bertram. Green flag in the air. Here comes Colt Locker on the bottom. He's going to take over the second spot. And here comes Grove for third on Gruel. Kyler Bertram, your race leader, halfway home, 5 in, 5 to go. Colt Locker, second. Kyle Grove, third. Josh Caranci in fourth. Bertram sideways, that's going to allow the bottom to Locker. Colt Locker, sideways. Kyle Grove going to look to the outside of Locker. Bertram sideways, here comes Locker, they make contact again. And Locker's got a cut right front tire. Caranci, green flag in the air, 2 laps to go. Kyle Grove will have the race lead. Here comes Kylie Wood trying to get to the bottom of Bertram. Bertram sideways through 3 and 4. Wood going to get to the bottom. Kyle Grove into turn number 3. Kylie Wood on the bottom from Kyler Bertram. Checkered flag. Grove. Bertram will finish in the third spot. Caranci in fourth. The 99 of Jason Gruel fifth. And the 25 of Bill Kramer in sixth. So pulling to the line from Yorksville, Ohio in the El Poblito Mexican Cuisine, Car Time Express, Zippy Cat, Cat Condos, and Affordable Towing, sponsored number 3. Heat race number 1 winner, Kyle Grove. So heat race number 2, starting on the pole, the 58 of Zach Kogar, the 28 of Bernie Minnick. The 83 is Ron Miller. He'll start inside of row number 2 with the 00 of Greg Bernard Jr. The 77 is Brett Dolan. The 75 is Joe Quinn. Jeff Kuykendall in the 12 and the 25 of Josh Way. So these guys racing for starting positions. The winner will start on the outside of the front row. Getting ready to go. Green, Minnick, and Zach Kogar. Bernie Minnick will have the race lead. Goes way up the racetrack. Here comes Greg Bernard Jr. to the inside. Bernard is there. Kogar trying to hang on to that third spot. Joe Quinn going to come around the outside. Now here comes the 25 of Way. Bernie Minnick, your race leader. The double zero of Greg Bernard runs second. Joe Quinn third. Josh Way fourth. Here comes Kuykendall for fifth. Bernie Minnick out front in the 28 and pulling away. And the 75 of Quinn spins in turn number 4. So the 25 of Josh Way making contact. 5 laps complete, right at the halfway point. 5 in, 5 to go. Minnick and Bernard, your front two. Green flag in the air. Joe Quinn to the inside of Greg Bernard Jr. for the second spot. Jeff Kuykendall right there in fourth. Koger trying to hang on to that fifth spot. Bernie Minnick back out front in the 28. Josh Way, Brett Dolan get around the 58 of Koger. Here comes Jeff Kuykendall to the inside of Bernard for the third spot. Joe Quinn up to second. White flag for Bernie Minnick. Off turn number 4, checkered flag for Bernie Minnick. Joe Quinn finishes second, Jeff Kuykendall third, Greg Bernard Jr. fourth, Josh Way fifth, Brett Dolan sixth, Zach Koger, and Ron Miller. So pulling to the line, heat race number 2 winner. He'll start on the outside of the front row for the feature. In the Nephew's Painting, Ambrose Fabrications, Wood RPM, Motorsports, Hammer Construction, Copley Car Care, Diamond Tire, and Trueline Graphics. Sponsored number 28 from Barberton, Ohio. Put your hands together for Bernie Minnick. So final heat race for the street stocks. The winner of this one will start inside of row number 2. So starting on the pole, the 82 is Charles Durst from Menor, Ohio, along with the 44 of Brandon Donnelly, the 303 of Tad Grove, the number 1 of Bryant Smith, then the 03 of Matt Wilson, the 101 of Billy Roberts, the 67 of Lucas Ripley, and your fastest qualifier, the 88 of Dennis Wood. Again, the winner of this heat race will start in the 3rd spot for the feature tomorrow. So 10-lap heat race number 3 for for the open street stocks. Getting ready to go green, Charles Durst on the pole. Brandon Donnelly, rookie driver in this division, on the outside. Green flag in the air. Brandon Donnelly takes the race lead on the outside. 3 wide down the back straightaway. Bryant Smith will have the second spot on the outside. The 303 attack roll up to the third spot. Billy Roberts, longtime competitor in the late models in street stocks, up into the fourth spot. And here comes Bryant Smith for the race lead. Bryant Smith to the inside of Brandon Donnelly. He'll take the race lead. Donnelly back to second. Here comes Grove for the third spot. To the second spot, inside of Donnelly. A little bit of contact to Donnelly from Dennis Wood. Is the 101 of Roberts up to the third spot. Here comes the 03 of Matt Wilson to fourth. Just past the halfway mark, Bryant Smith, Tad Grove, Billy Roberts, your top three. Dennis Wood up to the fourth spot. Gonna run out of time. White flag in the air for Bryant Smith. Tad Grove, Billy Roberts, and Wood. Off turn number 4, heat race number 3 to Bryant Smith. Tad Grove second, Billy Roberts third, Dennis Wood fourth, Lucas Ripley fifth, Matt Wilson sixth, Brandon Donnelly in the seventh spot, and then Charles Durst in the 82. From Canton, Ohio, and the Canton Auto Salvage, sponsored number 1. Put your hands together for Bryant Smith. Pair crate modified division. The winner of this race will start on the pole in the feature. The 87 is Zach Leisure. The 13 is Kenny Feaster Jr. The 55, the Rooster, Brandon Bailey. The 49 is Bob Page. The 24 is Nick Grubbs. 007 is Don Rufner III and Derek Gruhl in the 99. So getting ready to go green, Leisure and Feaster. Green flag in the air. Zach Leisure, your race leader. The Rooster, Brandon Bailey up to second. Here comes Grubbs for third. Bob Page to the bottom of the racetrack. He'll move up to the fourth spot, getting around Kenny Feaster Jr., his first night in a modified here at Midvale Speedway. Rooster lights up the tires into turn number 3. Caution on the speedway. The 49 of Bob Page into the back of the 24 of Nick Grubbs off of turn number 2. So 4 laps complete, 6 to go. Zach Leisure, your race leader. Brandon Bailey will start alongside. Winner goes to the pole. Green flag is in the air. Brandon Bailey with a good run on the outside. He's going to have the race lead. The Rooster to the front. Leisure back to second. Grubbs third. Feaster Jr. trying to hang on to that 4th spot. Here comes Derek Gruhl. Gruhl to the inside of Feaster. Now Grubbs to the inside, and Gruhl spins off of turn number 2. Getting ready to go back to green. 5 in, 5 to go. Nick Grubbs to the inside of Zach Leisure, going to take over the 2nd spot. Rooster, your race leader. And here comes Bob Page. Page to the inside of Zach Leisure for 3rd. White flag for Brandon Bailey. Nick Grubbs going to take a look to the outside lane, but here comes Bob Page for 2nd. Off turn number 4, your winner, Brandon Bailey. Nick Grubbs finishes 2nd, Bob Page 3rd, Zach Leisure 4th, Kenny Feaster Jr. 5th, Derek Gruhl 6th, and 7th, 007 DR3. So starting on the pole for tomorrow's feature, pulling to the line is heat race number 1 winner from Leesville, Ohio in the Scio Car Wash. Dover Hydraulics, sponsor number 55. Put your hands together for the Rooster, Brandon Bailey. Going to start on the outside of the front row. For the feature tomorrow, Jerry DeVore will start on the pole. The 69 is Bob Snyder Jr. The 15 is Kyle Finlayson. The 66 is Lewis McGrath. The 331, the Van Meter Auto Repair Modified Champion of 2020, Mike Stone. The 338 of Brandon France. And out back, the number 19 of Gerald Altizier from Akron, Ohio. The field gets the one to go signal. DeVore and Snyder Jr. on the front row. Bob Snyder Jr., your back-to-back late model champion. 3-time late model champion here at Midvale Speedway. Driving for the Animal tonight and tomorrow in the late models and the modifieds here. Jerry DeVore and Snyder Jr. on the front row, 10-lap heat race. Winner will start on the outside of the front row. Green flag in the air. Snyder trying to battle back on the high side. Jerry DeVore going to lead lap number 1. Good race up front. Jerry DeVore, Bob Snyder Jr. Snyder going to try and duck in behind. Here comes Lewis McGrath up to the third spot. Finlayson back to fourth. Brandon France trying to go around the outside and take over the fourth spot from Finlayson. Lewis McGrath now to the inside of Bob Snyder Jr. for the second spot behind race leader Jerry DeVore. Lewis McGrath hanging on to that bottom lane in that second position, having some mechanical issues with that 66. He does take over the second spot. White flag in the air for Jerry DeVore. Brandon France up to the third spot. Snyder had a great run in that outside lane. Now he's dropping back to the fourth, maybe fifth spot as Mike Stone trying to get to the inside. Off of turn number 4, Jerry DeVore, your winner. Lewis McGrath will finish second. Brandon France third. Mike Stone, or actually finishing fourth, is Bob Snyder Jr. Fifth is Mike Stone. Sixth, Kyle Finlayson. And seventh, Gerald Altizier. So pulling to the line, heat race number 2 winner. He'll start on the outside of the front row for the feature tomorrow in the BT Tire and Brake. Robinson Garage Doors, DeVore's Auto Repair, sponsored number 4. From Midvale, Ohio, put your hands together for Jerry DeVore. Auto Repair Crate Modifieds. Starting on the pole, the 75 is Bobby DeVore. We'll see if he can do what his brother did a little bit earlier. Bobby DeVore will start on the outside or the inside, the front row, alongside John Fama from Jennerstown, Pennsylvania. All the way from Jennerstown, John Fama on the outside of the front row. The 27 is Randy Gray, feature winner in this division this season. The 09 of Wes Ennis. Pretty good rookie season for the 09 of Ennis. Philip Cox in the 09, oh so close to a championship, as well as the 38 of Kevin McClintock. And your fastest qualifier tonight in the 02, Rick Sibla. So getting ready to go, green flag racing, 10 laps. Who will start third in the feature tomorrow? Bobby DeVore and Fama, green flag in the air. Bobby DeVore, your race leader. Fama trying to come around the outside. Still there. Philip Cox to the inside of Fama now is the 27 of Randy Gray. Up to the second spot. Trying to get around Bobby DeVore in that 75 for the race lead. Now contact. Randy Gray and Bobby DeVore make contact off of the back straightaway. Kevin McClintock takes evasive action. Go back to green. Bobby DeVore, your race leader. John Fama on the outside. Green flag in the air. Bobby DeVore, your race leader. Philip Cox in second. Kevin McClintock third. Randy Gray fourth. And the 0-2 of Rick Sibla. Philip Cox to the inside of Bobby DeVore, and here comes the 38 of McClintock. Philip Cox, Kevin McClintock, Bobby DeVore, and now the 0-2 of Rick Sibla to the outside of Randy Gray for the fourth spot. Kevin McClintock all over the back of Philip Cox in 09. But unable to get by Philip Cox, your race winner. Kevin McClintock finishes second. Bobby DeVore finishes third. Rick Sibla fourth. Randy Gray fifth. Wes Ennis sixth. And John Fama in seventh. So pulling to the line, he'll start in the third spot for the feature tomorrow in the 09 from Sherrodsville, Ohio, in the Ohio Billing, Swan Racing Fabrications, Double J Restoration, Finish Line Designs, and New Philadelphia Barbell sponsored machine. Put your hands together for Philip Cox. The 721 is Sean Donnelly from Sherrodsville, Ohio. On the outside, the 99 is Bob Johnson. The number 4 is Tim Scott. Tim Scott in the number 4. The 443 is Eddie McLean. The 31 is your fastest qualifier, Bill Aubil. And the 26 is Chad Squires. Last call for 50-50 tickets. 6-lap heat race for the mini trucks. For the final time in 2020, Sean Donnelly, Bob Johnson, green flag in the air. Barney Gerber selling that 2T truck to Sean Donnelly not too long after the championship was won by Gerber. Is Donnelly going to slip back to that third spot? Johnson the race lead. Eddie McLean to second. Donnelly back to third. Then the 4 of Tim Scott, the 31 of Aubil, and the 26 of Squires. Eddie McLean to the outside of Bob Johnson for the race lead. Donnelly up the racetrack, got into the 4th, Tim Scott. Scott's going to clear to the 3rd spot. That stalled out Aubil's momentum. He's in that 5th spot. The 443 of McLean, your race leader. Johnson in 2nd. Then Tim Scott and now Bill Aubil up to the 4th spot as he gets around Donnelly on the outside. White flag for Eddie McLean. Checkered flag for Eddie McLean in the 443. Bob Johnson finishes 2nd. And Tim Scott, Bill Aubil, and Sean Donnelly, along with the 26 of Chad Squires. So heat race winner for the Snap-on Tools by Doug Poole mini trucks from Carrollton, Ohio in the Napa Auto Parts, Scott Spears. Peebles Racing, Shark Performance, Joe Mack Truck Bodies and Cranes, the John Doe Band, the Keith and Robin Brady family, Steve Herman, Beth and Big A Dalton and Jones Tax Solutions, sponsored 443. Your winner, Eddie McLean. Is the number 7 of Trevor King from New Cumberland, Ohio. Alongside the 68 is Jerry Ward III. Row number 2, the 62 is Caden Scott from Roswell, Ohio, along with the first ever female champion at Midvale Speedway in its 68-year history, Tabitha Stuber in the 5, and your fastest qualifier, the 65 of Blake Miley. 6-lap heat race running the big, small oval. Green flag is in the air. Up the racetrack goes Trevor King. Here comes Tabitha Stuber, and a lot of contact from the 62 of Scott. And now the 7 goes around in the infield. Caution on the speedway. The 62 of Caden Scott, the 5 of Tabitha Stuber, and the 65 of fastest qualifier Blake Miley. Getting ready to go. Green flag racing. Green is in the air. Stuber going to split the middle. Problems for Ward the third as he slides back, and now Caden Scott to the inside of Trevor King. Blake Miley to the inside of Tabitha Stuber. King going to go almost around. Blake Miley going to take over that second spot behind Caden Scott, your race leader. Trevor King slides up the racetrack. Stuber going to move into the third position. And Tabitha Stuber will go pit side. Problems for that number 5, Caden Scott, your race leader. 3 in, 3 to go. Blake Miley in second. Third, Jerry Ward the third. Trevor King in the 7 and 4th. White flag for Caden Scott. Blake Miley second. Trevor King third. Jerry Ward the third, fourth. Final time into turn 3 and 4. Down a little dog leg. And checkered flag for Caden Scott. Blake Miley finishes second. Trevor King going to come through the infield dog leg and take home third. Jerry Ward the third finishes in the 4th spot. So pulling to the line, heat race winner for the trophy stocks. From Roswell, Ohio, in the Hoops Auto Body, France Trucking, sponsored number 62. Put your hands together for Caden Scott. Field to get the 1 to go signal. Timmy Kalp on the pole. The 47 of Eric Johnson alongside. Then the 9 of Gavin Roop. The 64 of Jamie Leslie. The 57 of Blaze Bacon. Sizzlin' Blaze Bacon. The 19 is Clayton Oliver. The 78 of Stephen Feaster. And your fastest qualifier, the 24 of Brent Schreffler. Eight-lap heat race number 1 for the Open Compacts is green. Timmy Kalp out front Johnson up the racetrack a little bit. Here comes Gavin Root in the 9. Gavin Root will take over that second position from Eric Johnson. Johnson back to third. Good battle for fourth between Leslie and Bacon. Timmy Kalp, your race leader. Timmy Kalp now with company. The 9 of Gavin Root is there. Here comes Eric Johnson back into the fray. The front 3 have pulled away just a little bit. Halfway home, 4 in, 4 to go. Clayton Oliver up to the 4th spot. Here comes Brent Schreffler to 5th. Those two working the outside lane, and Gavin Roop's going to spin. Schreffler down to the infield. Everybody keeps going. Amy Leslie, the 78 of Eric Feaster, rather. Blaze Bacon and Brent Schreffler getting ready to go back to green. 2 laps to go for Timmy Kalp and Eric Johnson. Eric Johnson will lead by a nose at the line over Timmy Kalp. Final lap in the fast heat of the compacts. Into turn number 3. Johnson just about clear of Timmy Kalp. Checkered flag. Eric Johnson, your winner. Timmy Kalp second. Clayton Oliver third. Eric Feaster fourth. Brent Schreffler fifth. Gavin Roop 6th, Jamie Leslie, and Blaze Bacon. Heat race number 1 winner from Elyria, Ohio. In the number 47, put your hands together for Eric Johnson. I can tell you, Indian Creek on a big 4th down play. The Indian Valley Braves got a sack from Evan Broom to take over the ball, still leading 28-0. Starting on the pole, the 44 is Mike Stuber, alongside Don Rufner Jr., Dan Bucky, Kenny Feaster Jr., Eugene Kopp, Katie Wood, and Justin Reneker. Eight-lap heat race number 2. Kenny Feaster gets shuffled out. Problems for the 13. 44, Mike Stuber will lead lap number 1. Stuber, Don Rufner Jr., Dan Bucky, your front 3. Here comes Rufner Jr. to the outside of Mike Stuber. Eugene Kopp to the outside of Dan Bucky for the 3rd spot. Rufner inching up on Mike Stuber. Justin Renneker up to the 4th spot as he got around Eugene Kopp. Now he's looking to the outside of Dan Bucky for 3rd. Rufner still in that outside lane trying to get around Stuber. Rufner slipped off at turn number 2. Bucky now to the inside of Rufner for that 2nd spot. White flag for Mike Stuber. Bucky now up to 2nd. Renneker trying to get to the inside of Rufner for that 3rd spot. Rufner battling back in that high lane. Off at turn number 4. Mike Stuber gonna win. Dan Bucky will finish 2nd. Don Rufner Jr. 3rd. Justin Renneker 4th. Then Eugene Kopp, Katie Wood, and Kenny Feaster Jr. Pulling to the line, heat race number 2 winner. Going to give up this ride to his daughter next season from Bowerson, Ohio, and the My Water Doctor, Keys Cars, Romar Performance Motorsports, Brotherhood HVAC, Mid-Vid Racing Videos, and Bucky Mowing sponsored number 44. Put your hands together for Mike Stuber. Is Zach Myers. The number 7 is Clayton Paisley. The 32 is Justin Courtney. The 48 is Tony Barbucio. The 15 is Brett Van Meter. The 27 is Billy Hilliker. The 79 of Phil Bunton Jr. And the 38 of Chad Littlehands Wise. Heat race number 3. Getting ready to go. Green, 8 laps they'll go. Green flag in the air. Myers into turn number 1. On the bottom, Paisley going to battle back on the high side. Myers going to have the race lead into turn number 3. Paisley battling back in the high lane. Courtney in that 3rd spot. Van Meter and Barbucio battle for 4th, and now a little bit of contact. Paisley going to have some issues. Caution on the speedway. The 79 of Phil Bunton Jr. stopped in turn number 1. Myers and Courtney on the front row. Van Meter, Barbucio in row number 2. 1 lap complete, 7 to go. Green flag in the air. Barton all kinds of sideways in turn 1 and 2 again. Courtney a little bit of contact from Van Meter. Myers your race leader in the 63. Zach Myers, your race leader. Justin Courtney in 2nd. Good battle for 3rd between the 15 of Van Meter and the 27 of Billy Hilliker. Billy Hilliker trying to get around Van Meter for 3rd. White flag for Zach Myers. Good battle behind Myers for that second, third, and fourth spots. Off of turn number 4, Myers going to win it. Justin Courtney going to finish second. Billy Hilliker third. Britt Van Meter fourth. Tony Barbucio fifth. Phil Bunton Jr. sixth. And Chad Wise in seventh. Your winner from Painesville, Ohio in the number 63. Put your hands together for Zach Myers. March. The number 100 is Chris Zink. The 01 is Hunter Corbett. The 7B is Ashton Boswell. The 5 is Tim Farrar. Drew Dillon in the 64, the 85 of Jonathan Weber, and the 17 of Bobby Gaynor. So getting ready to go green, Megan March. And the number 100 of Chris Zink on the front row. Final heat race for the compacts is green. Megan March out front, Zink in second, on the move in the outside lane. Around Hunter Corbett in the 01 is the 7B of Ashton Boswell. Now Boswell up the racetrack, going to give up that spot. Here comes Tim Farrar in the 5. Megan March out front. Speeding ticket for the 24 of Megan March. 2 laps under her qualifying time. She'll get the speeding ticket. Black flag for Megan March. Zink, your race leader now. Is Tim Farrar going to drop to the bottom? Farrar going to take over the race lead. Boswell way up the racetrack. Hunter Corbett in the grass. All kinds of action in the final compact heat race. Farrar, your race leader. Zink in second, Corbett third. Boswell way up the racetrack, just moved to the outside of Hunter Corbett. Tim Farrar, your race leader in the 5. Chris Zink second, Hunter Corbett third. Here comes Drew Dillon, looking for that 4th spot on Boswell. Boswell way up the racetrack. White flag for Tim Farrar. Checkered flag for Tim Farrar. Chris Zink will finish second. Hunter Corbett third. Bobby Gaynor fourth. Drew Dillon fifth. Ashton Boswell 6th, Jonathan Weber 7th. Pulling to the line, heat race number 4 winner. The number 5 is Tim Farrar. #21 of Sean Donnelly, alongside the #99 of Bob Johnson. The 4 is Tim Scott, the 443 of Eddie McLean, the 31 is Bill Aubil, your fastest qualifier, and running the Eddie Van Halen tribute on the front of that number 26 is Chad Squires. Tough break for Squires as he pulls to the infield. Of course, all the music lovers and guitar lovers of the world, one of the greatest, Eddie Van Halen, passing away this week. Chad Squires doing the tribute on the front of that 26 truck. Getting ready to go green, Donnelly and Johnson. Scott and McLean in row 2. Aubil and Squires row 3. Green flag in the air. Bob Johnson around the outside. Here comes Aubil. 3 wide. Aubil going to smoke the tires, get into Donnelly. Put him in the infield. 1 lap complete. Caution on the speedway for the 721 of Sean Donnelly stopping, even though Bill Aubil wanted to admit fault. That is why Aubil gets his spot back and Donnelly goes to the tail. The caution was for the 721. So getting ready to go back to green, 1 lap complete. Johnson and McLean. Bob Johnson and Bill Aubil get into it on the front straightaway. Johnson drove him up into the fence. Eddie McLean way out in front. Your race leader, Tim Scott second, Johnson in third. Aubil trying to get around Donnelly for the 4th spot. The 99 of Bob Johnson spins in turn number 2. Caution on the speedway. Getting ready to go back to green. Green flag in the air off of 4. Tim Scott still battling on the outside of Eddie McLean. Halfway home, 6 in, 6 to go. McLean, your race leader. Aubil up to second now. Scott back to third. Donnelly 4th. Johnson 5th. Squires 6th. Eddie McLean, Bill Aubil, Tim Scott, your front 3. 2 laps to go for McLean. White flag for Eddie McLean. Bill Obel second. Tim Scott third. Sean Donnelly fourth. Bob Johnson in fifth. Chad Squires sixth. Into turn number 3 for the final time in 2020. Off turn number 4, your winner, Eddie McLean. Obel finishes second. Scott third. Donnelly and Johnson. And Chad Squires finishing out in sixth. One more feature to go tonight before we get to tomorrow. Interviews tonight and not tomorrow. So Eddie McLean in victory lane once again. Pulling in an act tuning victory lane once again, and that number 443 from Carrollton, Ohio. In the Napa Auto Parts, Scott Spears, Peebles Racing, Shark Performance, Joe Mack Truck Bodies and Cranes, the John Doe Band, Keith and Robin Brady family, Steve Herman, Beth and Big A Dalton and Jones Tax Solutions sponsored number 443. He's out of the truck. Here's your winner. Put your hands together for Eddie McLean. The Big Fall Classic trophy down there in victory lane with the pink and black checkered flag for breast cancer awareness. Getting the picture in victory lane. Congratulations, Eddie. You earned it, buddy. Canton Addiction Trophy Stock Feature. Starting on the pole, the 7 is Trevor King. The 68 is Jerry Ward III. The 62 of Caden Scott. The 5 of Tabitha Stuber. And the 65 of Blake Miley, your fastest qualifier. 10-lap final trophy stock feature of the season. Getting ready to go green. King and Ward, green flag in the air. Tabitha Stuber up through the middle. Trying to get to that outside lane. Scott, she's going to get up to second. Ahead of Caden Scott, behind Trevor King. King going to lead lap number 1. Stuber tries to get to the inside. Tabitha Stuber to the front. Trevor King back to second. Now here comes Caden Scott and Blake Miley. Blake Miley up to third. Moving King back to fourth. Stuber, your race leader. Caden Scott all over the back of that number 5 of Tabitha Stuber. Into turn number 4. 4 laps complete. Stuber, Scott, Miley. Stuber continues to lead Scott. Jerry Ward the third through the infield. A lap ago. Field approaching. Trevor King. White flag in the air for Tabitha Stuber. Final time through the dog leg. Through turn number 4. Checkered flag for Tabitha Stuber. Hayden Scott finishes second. Blake Miley third. Trevor King fourth. And Jerry Ward in fifth. Once again, want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. We hope to see you back here tomorrow early afternoon as we finish up our Fall Classic here in 2020. And pulling in to Knack Tuning Victory Lane, once again, the first ever female champion in the 68-year history of Midvale Speedway will take home another feature victory. Here she is. Put your hands together for Tabby Stuber. And the Bucky Mowing, Small Straws, Acres, Romar Performance Motorsports, Keys Cars, and Old School Farm. Sponsored number 5. Tabby, I was wrong. You were right. I was wrong. The big Fall Classic trophy in Victory Lane. Tabby Stuber moving up to the compacts next year. First ever female champion at Midvale Speedway. And she wins the final feature of 2020. Tabby Stuber in Victory Lane. Once again, thank you to everybody for coming out tonight. Great job by the Midvale Speedway infield track crew.